Hi guys, welcome back to the Stage Performance Podcast. Hi guys, welcome back to the Stage Performance Podcast. So today I got to interview the Scottish vocal coach. So I've played alongside many of the Scottish vocal coach's students and they're all fantastic. So I was really excited to sit down with her today and see what we could learn teaching wise, vocally, instrumentally, and it was just a really good conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy. But I have to say, I have actually been really, really looking forward to this interview because having performed alongside so many of your students.
I know you have. I know.
I know. I've never met any bad ones. There's never been a student where I've been like, who taught this person?
Heard it here first.
Exactly.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. So, as I say, meeting the master behind all of their techniques, the Scottish vocal coach. Yeah, no, but that is actually really, really interesting. So, like, you found classical and you kind of had an appreciation for technique before you found, like, I mean, as I say, like, so many people are the opposite. They find, like, the catchy tunes first, and then people that say they like classical music, like, oh, I need more technique, I need more of this, and then they find it that way. So what was it about classical that made you, like, fall in love with it?
Well, my mum's a singer. You know, she's an opera, kind of classical singer. And my dad was very heavily classically trained as well in piano and organ, and he was a conductor as well. So he did a lot of choral stuff. So in my house, I grew up kind of around him playing organ recitals and going to different concerts that were classically based. But I think also church as well. Like, church was quite a strong place that music was massive in church. And I just loved it. I loved singing the hymns. I know that sounds quite cheesy.
No,
but
it's
But I loved singing the hymns. Even when I was older, see, when I started to learn chord progressions on the piano, I loved church music because it gave me such a good easy way to find my chord progressions on the piano. And it gave me such a wonderful bass line as well to play. And then I could play in the alto line too, and the soprano and the tenor line. And then we had descants as well. And the feeling that you get, see, when you sing, for example, Once in Royal David City, very, very famous Christmas one. See, when you sing that descant, you feel invincible. There is something about singing that descant above everyone else. Even if you're by yourself in the car and you've got classic FM on and you're still singing and belting it out, it's an amazing feeling. So I think I've always kind of sang, but I didn't come to singing properly. I came through piano and violin first.
Mm-hmm. So you were an instrumentalist before you were a singer?
Yeah, I mean, I always did singing, but I just didn't take it. I think back in my day, there's going to be a lot of these ones. You know, so back then, musical theatre wasn't that big, especially in Scotland.
I can imagine that, yeah.
RCS didn't have a musical theatre course.
What?
Back then.
No?
No.
And it wasn't even called RCS at that point?
It was the Royal Conservatoire, the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama.
Yes,
I
see why they changed the name a bit more simpler just to say RCS. Yeah. Well, the thing about hymns is, like, there's something there for everyone because you can get, like, your happy, like, cheesy, you know, like, shine, Jesus. I love that one.
Happy clapping.
Yeah. And then, like, if you wanted the more kind of, like, sophisticated stuff and you listen to the choirs and you really like the 4-part harmonies and that in it, like, there was something for everyone, like, that wanted to do music. I actually found, like, a lot of churches back in the day were very encouraging for young musicians to kind of go up and do stuff. And you hear a lot of musicians say, like, that's where they started, like, in church stuff. No matter if they went on to do pop or, like, rock or classical, like, there's something about the church that's like, hey, come on and hone your skills here, you know?
But our home life, it was all based around concerts. And, I mean, my mum performed a lot, so we would go and we would be sitting in the front row watching for 2.5 hours while she did an oratorio or, and then it became second nature. It became part of my DNA, and understanding treble clefs, understanding the theory side of it. So yeah, and I think I started the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama when I was 6.
Wow.
So I started very young.
How was that possible to get in there so young? Like, was it juniors?
It was juniors,
Okay,
yeah, it was juniors. But I was very gifted when I was younger. But I practiced like every night. I practiced for at least a good solid hour and a half, on piano, and it was scales, arpeggios. It was proper traditional practice techniques as well. It was
a lot
old
of people
school.
really underestimate the importance of skills.
Yeah.
And they just see it as really boring, and they say, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just go straight to the piece." But I actually think if you had like half an hour, like, or an hour of practice a day, like say there was only one thing you could practice, I would advocate that skills is the thing that you should practice because it's going to help you in every field.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's different. It's different for different instruments.
Yes,
I
that's
think.
very true.
But I think if you're styled, so if you're just training as classical, then absolutely. But training in scales, arpeggios, dominant sevens, things like that, builds muscle in your fingers. It builds muscle memory in your fingers. So your fingers, you don't need to look at your fingers anymore because you know where the keys are. You don't need to know where your fingers are because you know where the string or the pitch is for stringed instruments. It's a kind of tradition that sometimes people have kind of turned their noses up to a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think because when you see a lot of like pop music, and as someone that like really, really loves a lot of that stuff, there isn't really a need for it. When you see like the amount of skill that learning a classical piece takes, especially if it's advanced in comparison to like a standard charts pop song, you really, not to say that all pop is easy because it's not, but you'll find that the skill level it takes to perfect the classical piece in comparison to like a pop song, a lot more technique needs to be practiced in order to do the classical stuff well. That doesn't mean to say it's not transferable. I think like my teacher always said, Joe Pasevich, a good grounding in classical will help you out anywhere you go.
Yeah.
And I think that's very much the case. But so obviously you started off as an instrumentalist. Like, when did the Scottish vocal coach come about? When was that an idea that you had?
So actually, someone gave me my name. Actually.
Right.
Okay. So before I was Scottish vocal coach, I ran a music school. So I ran McCallum School of Music. So
Wow.
my maiden name is McCallum. I ran MSM, and it was based in Renfrewshire, and we had about 100 to 130 kids, ages ranging from 3 up to 25, doing different classes in piano, guitar, music theory. We had a musical theatre school within it as well. We had singing lessons.
That's really cool.
And
is that quite stressful to manage one of those?
Yes, it was. It was horrific. If you look at me back then, I think I was about twice the size as what I am right now. But don't get me wrong, like it taught me a lot, and we achieved phenomenal success, and I was very, very lucky with that. But one of the successes was TV shows, like competitions like X Factor, The Voice Kids, BGT, Pop Idol, what else? So through that, I had a lot of success with that, with students from Scotland getting onto television shows, and I came across Simon Cowell quite a lot.
Right, okay.
And he never remembered my name. Right? But he used to always call me the Scottish vocal coach.
Really? So it was Simon Cowell?
So I kind of accredit it. I'm not giving it to him.
Okay.
He's not getting right. Right? But I kind of accredit it to him because he kept going, "Oh, you're the Scottish vocal coach. I've seen you before. I saw you at X Factor. I saw you at Britain's Got Talent, or saw you in, and who have you got in this year, and so, so it kind of came about through that, and I kind of, when he kept calling me, I was still running as McCallum School of Music, so I didn't really want to swap over yet. It's quite hard to change a brand.
It
Very
takes a very
challenging.
long time as well, especially
Yeah.
if you're known for
Yeah.
one thing,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to transition into another thing, and people
Mhm.
associate you with that thing. But I guess there's still similarities. It's not like you were
Yeah.
going from music to like
Mhm.
podcasting or
Yeah.
something like,
Yeah.
or something like, music to like window cleaner. I don't know why I thought of that, but like it's the idea that if the similarities in the brand, it's just a very kind of subtle change. So like
Mhm.
you probably retain your core followers through that.
It did. It kind of worked okay because I think McCallum School of Music wasn't about me. It pushed the students, and I always made sure of that. Like when we did concerts, I never got up and sang. I never, when we did shows, and we did events all over, like we were performing to 38,000 people at one point. I really, really pushed the boat. I took them all the way to Los Angeles to the World Performing Arts
Wow.
Championships, and we placed, so we really did achieve a lot. And we also did a lot of phenomenal work with ABRSM exams as well, which is Associated Board of the Royal School of Music, for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know.
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah. But that kind of allowed me, because it was about the students, it allowed me to launch me being the Scottish vocal coach.
hmm
So it didn't kind of break down the school.
So it's a very
So
subtle change.
it
Like it was
was,
the name, but it
yeah.
wasn't like the
Mhm.
practicality or the principle of the business and the brand didn't really change. It
No,
was still teacher
yeah.
and students.
And I
Yeah.
closed the school,
You closed the school,
yeah,
right?
to focus on myself. And it's been, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love all my students. They're amazing. And any of them that have stayed with me and came with me has been wonderful. But I was a wreck back then.
Okay.
I didn't have a life. My partner, like, he never saw me. I was working out of studios that weren't great. It's trying to find a venue is challenging. Trying to find staff. Don't get me started. We could do a full month's podcast on that. Just
Okay.
trying to find reliable staff. It's very challenging that can do what I wanted them to, what my ethos was for the school. So when COVID hit, actually, everything for me changed in a really positive way. I know it was negative for a lot of people, but for me, it was positive because it gave me an opportunity to launch me as just what I wanted to be. I wanted to I realised through my teaching that I loved teaching voice. I love having someone in front of me and me being able to manipulate and show them an exercise of how to strengthen or how to rehabilitate a muscle after a stroke, or how to, be a bit stronger on this section of the song, or teaching opera, teaching jazz, teaching rock. I love all those different ones. So it kind of gave me that passion back, I think.
Yeah. So did you find that like with the school it was more a management role, whereas when you went into the Scottish vocal coach it was more like you could focus on the teaching side of it?
With the school, I did everything. I was a one-man
Yeah.
band. I had to manage, I had to admin, I had to teach, I had to costume, I had to,
Costume.
yeah, oh yeah, we did loads of, I made all my own costumes. One year I did 25 costumes based on the Lion King. My house was covered in fur.
Oh, that's
my
just been
my little
nightmare.
dog did not look like a dog. It looked like a lion. She looked like a wee lion.
I suppose that's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 But it means that you could kind of get your life back again and still do what you like doing, but just not a lot of the stuff that you didn't want to do.
Yeah. And that's what I love. So now I'm just so happy. I mean, I absolutely love it. I work with phenomenal voices. I work with incredibly talented students, and every single one that comes through my door, I take my hat off to them because they're so confident, and that's amazing. Like, even just to sing in front of someone, that's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as someone that went to the academy, as it was called back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this was a thing when you were there, but there was something called performance class.
Yeah,
Right,
yes,
so
yeah.
like you had to go up and you
Yeah.
had to perform in front of basically the whole uni,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a very long class. I
The
remember.
master class.
Well,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened was like everyone would be there, like people that were older than you, like all the teachers, and that would be something that you had to do throughout the year. And I don't think there's anything, like, once you've done that, I don't think anything else is hard again.
Yeah.
Like, perform, because you're in a room full of people that, a lot of them, you know, especially when you're younger, are better, you know, and they're actively looking to critique and tear it apart. Obviously for
Yeah,
productive
yeah.
purpose, but
Well,
that's,
most of them are.
yeah, well, there's always going to be a few that just, I don't know if you found this, but there was always a few in the class that just spoke for the sake of speaking, you know, to sound smart, and you think that you didn't make a point there. Like,
Yeah.
you really just said that, and there would be a few people that would just do that. But I think once you get over that, and once you get through that class, I think everything you do for the rest of your life, in terms of, that doesn't mean to say you might never get nervous performing, but like, you know that you're never going to have to do anything that hard again, because every audience that you play to wants, like, to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, they're not all listening to, like, to your part. They like the song, so that they want to hear. So yeah. But see, now that you've been, like, focusing on the teaching again, what would you say makes a good teacher? Like, what do you go into your lesson saying, right, I am to do this? Like, the risk of sounding too philosophical, like,
You've got to be a chameleon.
chameleon.
Yeah.
Come a
Come
chameleon.
Yeah, you've got to be able to be adaptable. I think in one day for me, I'll teach an hour of opera, then I'll teach an hour of musical theatre, then I'll teach an hour of rock, then I'll teach an hour of rehabilitation just for the speech, you know, and you have to be able to change and look at the individual in front of you and understand them and how their mind works, and be able to have 101 different ways of explaining how to use your tongue, because they might not be able to understand one. They'll see that one way that your teacher taught you. That might not work for the person that's in front of you.
Yeah.
You need to adapt. And I think a lot of my clients, they'll feel that they go away with more knowledge than they've ever had in their entire life of performing. You know, and they come away and go, I've learned so much just in one session with you. And I've been at lessons for 10, 15 years. And it's not that the teachers haven't taught them correctly. It's just they've maybe not communicated it enough to let that individual understand it from their perspective.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good point. And I think, like, when, especially at high school, or even younger than that, when you start playing, it can be a very one size fits all. Like, this technique, use this, and you know, when you're an impressionable kid, an impressionable student, you don't know any better. It's only as you get older and you see, well, one, people's brains are different, so they're going to absorb information differently.
Yeah.
So even if you have two people that maybe have the same type of voice, explaining something to someone one way might not be as easy to explain to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, some people just get things like that. And as an instrumentalist, you can really find that, like, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this to me is more of a instrumentalist thing. You find players that are exceptionally good sight readers, and you find people that are really good with their ear.
Yeah.
And they tend to be one or the other. I mean, you can get hybrids that are kind of balanced, and you're kind of one of those people.
I think I'm a hybrid. Sight reading was a downfall for me my whole life in all instruments. Apart from singing. For singing, I can pretty much sing to pitch. I'm pretty good with that. But that's because I've drilled it. I've drilled and drilled. But sight reading is tricky for anyone. You know, there's so much that goes into it for sight reading. I mean, I can plonk. That's what I call it. I can plonk. So if you put something down with me, I can get through it no matter what. You know, and I think when you're at, I kind of go down the routes of, have you done the ABRSM? Yeah? So I would say about grade 6. If you can get to grade 6 ABRSM, you're a plonker. You can definitely plonk your way through things, you know.
That's very helpful for a lot of people, I
think it is.
Because some people are like, unless you're grade 8, you're nothing. Like,
I know,
you see a lot
but
of
it's
that,
not.
and it's not true, you know.
Grade 8 is nothing, really. It's just a number. I mean, grade 7 is so similar to grade 8. You know, and then the diploma above the grade 8 as well is very similar as well. So I think it's, in my day, the be-all and end-all was grade 8. It was like, oh, you know, kind of this goddess up on high if you got your grade 8. Nobody's ever asked me if I've gotten my grade 8. I've never needed it in an interview. I've never needed it, for that perspective. They've asked me, do I have my grade 5?
Yeah.
Do I have my grade 5 theory?
That's a big one, I think.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
So I think that there is quite a bit of pressure. But I think in this day and age, especially with the Bachelor of Education degrees now that are out in the UK, it's not as much pressure on how well you are as an instrumentalist.
And I think they're just two different skill sets.
Yeah, it is very
mean,
much. Yeah.
I think there's like people being able to teach as a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really impressive skill. And as someone that's taught a lot of people, and it's probably someone that's had a lot of teachers,
Mm-hmm.
you can see qualities that probably you were like, oh, that inspires me. And then there's other teachers that are like, how do you not understand this? You're just kind of like almost gaslighting the student a bit into thinking they're stupid. Like, it's amazing how just like you have to be really careful with what you say to students, because like it can be really like your opinion, especially if they're younger, if they haven't done singing before, your opinion is gospel to them.
Yeah.
And if they come in, and I know you have a lot of confident students, but like if you got someone in that was probably a little bit apprehensive and not sure of themselves, if you say something like, that was terrible, like that's going to really stay with them sometimes for the rest of their life. So,
well, I do get a lot of ones that self-doubt. There's massive self-doubt in the performing arts, just in general, whether you're an instrumentalist or a performer, and I call them all, I just name it as performing arts, because I think whether you're playing sax or piano or you're an actor or you're a singer, it's all in that kind of environment, and the self-doubt and the self-defecating that you do. I do that a lot. I make fun of myself a lot, but it does soften the person who's in front of me, and I think that's a way of connecting to somebody.
yeah, well, it's showing that you're like not afraid to be, to have a laugh, or like kind of be vulnerable. Like it shows you're self-aware. See, when you're willing to kind of have a laugh, and there are just a lot of people in life, I think, that like when you are super serious all the time, and there's everything's really by the book, and there's no kind of camaraderie. I think that is something you might interpret when you're younger as just a really hard exterior, but when you get older, you're like, they're insecure. That's a form of insecurity. See, when you are just not socially able to like communicate, like,
and we all have that
to a degree. I think it's different in everyone.
And that's what I want everyone to know, that even I have my own insecurities.
Everyone,
as
there's
a
nothing
teacher,
wrong with being insecure.
As a singer, it's part and parcel of it. Am I doing it right? With this student, is this exercise landed? Is she going to go away and do more damage? I mean, touch wood, I've never had any students going away and damaging their voices. But it's a section in the performing arts that is not policed or watched. Like you don't have you like, for example, you could open a singing school tomorrow. Right?
Don't know how that would go.
Right? But you could open a singing school tomorrow, and people would come, and they would take lessons from you, and you would make money from that. But the technique, you've got to be so careful with who you actually send your youngsters or yourself to. There's so many out there that you just maybe should stay away from. And I think part of my career I've came across a lot of phenomenal teachers, but I've also came across certain places that I would advise, let's stay away from there. Let's, or actually it's not the right fit for you. Like if you're a classical singer, don't go to a pop school. If that's what you want to do, if you want to do classical, don't go to a pop teacher.
It reminds me of, I'm not going to name this person, right? I'm not even going to say what it was, but there was once where there was auditions for The Voice.
Okay.
And there was this person that came in, and he was fantastic at the classical stuff.
Right, okay.
He did. I don't even want. I want to keep it as vague as I possibly can, right? But he was a classical singer.
One of my clients.
No. But it was fantastic. unbelievable at that stuff. And I heard them doing a pop song. It was like, I am never going to give you up. I am never going to.
Trying to be a
And I was like,
crossover artist. What is that about?
oh, it was so. But I'm not even saying it was bad, but it was just so classical, and you're like, that does.
It's not been stylized.
Yeah. And it's so funny, like, because it's not that it's a bad voice; it's a great voice, but. You know, when you hear it in a context which it's not meant to be in, it's like this dissonance that you just think, whoa, you know.
Well, I had a message last week. I had a client looking for German leader, so for me to teach them some German leader, and I was like, I'm not teaching. No, I don't specialise in that.
That's very honest.
You need to go to, and I pointed them towards somebody who does that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but some people don't do that. They'll just go, yeah, just come in, and you know. So it is really tricky. It's a bit of a minefield sometimes.
One of the things I actually think, especially for young people, that like are first going to lessons for anything, is the emotional component. You know, like as a teacher, like a lot of people, and you'll probably have this with a lot of younger people, like they come in and they'll be like, oh, guess what I did today? I guess what this happens, and like it's like a safe space for them as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important. And I think like I totally agree about like if you know you have a certain like voice, and go to like the relevant teacher. But I think see when you're that young and you don't know, it's almost not your job in a weird way. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. This is a very speculative point, but I think when you're younger, it's about, you know, seeing if there's a voice there. And like you'll always be remembered as that teacher that kind of showed them that they had a even if you don't go on to be like the forever teacher, like if they go on to uni and like they get people there. But would you say like when you're younger, like if you have a younger student, like the emotional component is more important than the technique component?
I think grounded foundation is absolutely more important, but I think you have to have a passion. I look for a sparkle. Doesn't matter if you can't sing when you come into my studio, right? I can make you sing. I'm really, really good at building a voice. So I look for a sparkle. So sometimes that sparkle is in, if for example, if it's a youngster, sometimes the sparkle is in the parent.
Okay.
It's in that, and it's not in the student. So the student is looking like this. Right? Okay.
Right.
There's a look. Believe me, there's a look. So if that look is happening during my lesson, they don't want to be here. It's the parent that wants them to be here.
Do you ever feel a pressure with that, or?
Well, no, because I set the parent straight.
Okay.
I always go, listen, she doesn't want to be here. You're wasting your money to snow until she's passionate about it. If I have a student who comes in and they're like this, or they're nervous, or there's an emotional, or even if they're crying, it's an emotional feeling to sing, you know. So if they're feeling something, I'm in, 100%. I'm game. I'm ready for the journey. I want to see what is going to happen. I'm excited. You know, I get nervous for first lessons even now.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
But if it's coming from the parent, I pretty much tell the parent, listen, you're wasting your money. There's no point in this. And I ask her and I go, well, what do you like doing? I like knitting. Okay, send her to a knitting class. Put her to make sure that there's a natural passion first.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be a want. You must have had a want to be musical at some point.
Yeah.
And it's been infused by a good teacher. And it's been backed up probably by your parent sending you there.
Somewhat.
Somewhat?
I actually was quite rogue when I was younger for like music. I practiced what I wanted to do, and I didn't care about like what I was being.
But you still practiced.
Yeah, but that I actually came from a place of like hero teachers, I suppose.
Okay.
Like so, there was people that I didn't go to lessons from, but like say I went to like we were talking about church earlier. Guy, love you, Greg McHugh, if you're watching. He like said, "Would you come up?" No, actually, I remember going up once and saying, "Why aren't you playing Shine Jesus Shine?" Because I really like that.
Right.
And he just laughed and he says, "Like, do you play an instrument?" I said, "I play saxophone." And he says, "Right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll play it if you come up here with your saxophone." And we had this relationship of like, I learned kind of by playing live with him, and it got you over like the nerves, or like not got over it. I don't think you ever really get over nerves, to be fair, but like you can function in it, and playing live, and then going on to do piano. He gave us pointers, but it was like a teaching through doing.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, absolutely. Like you seen good people like that, or my cousin, Andrew Ruddy, who played really well, and he was just like a good. I think good people inspired me more so than like, just people that could play really well. I think like there's that combination from someone that is really competent but is doing it for the right reasons, and you can tell is visibly happy, doing it. That's the kind of people, teachers that inspired me.
Yeah.
Apologies for
Well, you
that's
would have
too
probably
vague.
have had your sparkle then, and that's what probably allowed them to keep connecting with you.
Yeah, and I think you have to connect with your teacher.
Yeah,
You really
you've
do.
got
I mean,
to.
you probably have had students. I've probably had teachers that like you just don't connect with, even if there's like good ability on both ends. I think
Yeah.
temperamentally you need to align, and that's no bad
Yeah.
thing.
No,
Sometimes you
because
just say,
I just pass them on. I
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
listen, actually, do you know, such and such is going to be a great teacher for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try a session with them, because I think you're going to be able to like progress more
Yeah.
with them than you will be with me. Because it's not a bad thing to move on and find a better connection. It's part of life. You'll progress to the point of that you outgrow. Even some of mine, they outgrow me and they move on elsewhere. So don't get me wrong, sometimes they come back as well, which I love. I love it when they come back. Please still
You're like,
keep coming back.
look who's
Come and
crawling.
see me.
No, but I think that's the thing, like, and you just can't take that personally.
Yeah.
On either end, you can, like,
Yeah.
the student can't say, "Oh, I failed my teacher," and the teacher can't be like, "Oh, I failed my student," or like there's bit like sometimes that happens, and it can be
Yeah.
for like they might just not want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like they might say, "I want to go and," like if it's a guy, they might say, "I want to go and be a footballer," or something like that,
Yeah.
and that's it. Or you might just say, "Listen, I don't have the time to teach." Like there can
Yeah.
be all sorts of reasons why lessons end. I think the real test is like, see if you see those people like in the street and like you talk to them for ages, like
Yeah.
it shows that like you did a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
they appreciated the thing.
And I think I'm really lucky because I've got a lot of vocal coaches around Scotland who they teach marvellously, and then they go, I can't teach you anything else. You need to go to Angela now.
Yeah,
And that's when they'll message me and they'll go, have you got room? Can you take her on? Because she needs to get this A, B, and C done before she goes to uni, or I don't know. I've been working with this pulled chest for ages and it's not going anywhere. Can you have a look at her and see? And there's a lovely relationship there. And it's not about, oh, she's going to steal my student. It's all this kind of drama, it does happen, but
talking on Twitter.
I know. It's all about really making sure that everybody knows that Angela McCallum, Scottish vocal coach, is open to helping, and I'll help, and then I'll pass them back to you, and you can keep going on with your teachings with them, and because I think that's what usually happens, especially with older, in kind of like 16 and above. It's usually they come to me because they have had lessons, but their teacher just can't take them to that next level that's needed for a uni edition, kind of level, or a national competition or a international competition level. They need to look at it from a bit more of I call it persnickety. I've got a persnickety eye.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and that's good. Like you're quite an analytical person, and that's what I think a lot of teachers need to be, like quite analytical in a way. Like
I don't know what that means.
Okay, right. So, so like the ability to kind of really spot the fine details.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
I actually
yes.
don't think I'm very good at that.
I call it persnickety. It's definitely for me.
I think it's a
persnickety.
skill. Like it's definitely a skill where maybe like 25% of the population can do it, where it's like they find that see the minute details.
Mum, you're so proud of me. I'm one of
seen it
them.
here on the Stage Performance Podcast. Top 25. Yeah. But like I think it's one of those ones where like you have the ability to just spot the very, very fine-tuned stuff.
Yeah.
Admittedly, especially if I'm teaching, which I don't actually really do presently, and I've not taught for ages, but I was very kind of focused on, did you play the right notes? Was it at the right time? You know, with the attempts at dynamic, like kind of quite surface level. And I
Yeah.
think for a beginner or someone sitting like national 5 exams,
Mhm.
that has its place.
Yeah.
But if you want to go on to be like an elite level, you know, you're the type of person that they would come to for something
Yes.
like that.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I know
there's,
it's tricky using that word elite, isn't it?
I hate it. I really hate it.
There's a feeling,
Just could not think of
isn't
another
there?
word.
I know it's so. I try. So see, when I'm trying to do any promotion, I try and think of the word, and it's like the next level. And I'm using that phrase, the next level, because I don't like
Yeah.
using the word elite
I think
or
there's a
even
difference between
advanced.
there's a difference
You know, it's
between
hard.
offering elite training
Mhm.
and being an elitist person. I think
Yeah.
there's two very different things going on there.
Mhm.
Because like when you sit down, you can very much have a conversation, you know, like have a fun time. Whereas if you're talking to an elitist person, they're very hard work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've probably dealt with those type of people as
Mhm.
well. Like the kind of person you avoid, or the person that maybe you're in the supermarket and they just don't look your direction, despite the fact because they just think they're better. Like that to me is what
Yeah.
elitist is.
Okay.
It doesn't actually
yeah.
mean you're good at the
Mhm.
thing. It just means that that's the type of
Mhm.
personality. Whereas offering elite training is its own thing. Like you're offering something.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
not a
that's quite a good
personality
way
type.
to kind of look at it, I think. Yeah, it's tricky in this day and age. You've got to get the wording right, you know, because if not, you'll be pummeled back down. No, you're not allowed. you know. But yeah.
Well, the thing is, and why I know you're not elitist. Well, have I got that right? Now you made me question it. You have that whole my student success is my success.
Very much
You
so.
know, and there's teachers
I
out
wouldn't be able to
there.
do anything. I mean, this is completely off topic completely,
By all means,
but
yeah.
but I've personally, me, Angela McCallum, I've just been able to book Disneyland Paris for my husband, me, and my 2 little girls.
Oh, nice.
And that's thousands and thousands of pounds. And I have never been able to do anything like that. And it's all because of my students.
Right.
It's all because all of you still book back in with me. So thank you. So I get to go and be, if you're Disney crazy, and I am a Disney crazy.
You are
Like my
Disney.
dog is called Disney.
What?
Yeah, I've got a wee Yorkshire. I was going to bring
I
her
wasn't
today actually,
expecting
but
that,
then I thought that maybe not. But yeah, so I would have called her Tinkerbell if my husband had let me. But
That'd be quite.
she's my favourite character.
Is it?
Yes.
Tinkerbell.
So feisty. She's so
I've
small,
not watched the
feisty,
film
and she's
in
powerful.
years.
Right. Okay. But yeah, so I've been able to do that. Like that's massive for me. So it's thousands of pounds. I mean, listen, it's not. If you're used to going to Disney every year, then you won't understand that. But for me,
No, of
it's
course.
it's
Yeah,
massive.
yeah.
You know, going from where I did come from financially to where I am now, it's because of
This
my
is
student
really
success.
interesting. Really interesting because a running theme that I've had with a bunch of people that have come on has been, you know, music and just creativity has taken them from a financially not great situation to like
Yes.
thriving.
Yeah.
And I said this before, but there was a quote on another podcast that really annoyed me very recently. And to be fair to that podcast, I think they were just reading jokes that were sent in. I don't think they really believed this.
Yeah, yeah.
But they said, steal a man's wallet and he'll be poor for a day. Teach a man to play an instrument and he'll be poor for life. And that really annoyed because it's just small minded. And it was, the whole comment section was like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, you know. And I think it is just small minded because on one hand, they're somewhat correct in the sense that, like, there's no guarantee of jobs. But the one thing that they completely miss is see if you're kind of entrepreneurial enough to go and set up your own music school
Yeah.
or set up your own brand and like go and do all these things. It's there in abundance. You just have
Yeah.
to create the opportunities. And people are so scared of that or they don't understand that process. And
I still think there's a lot of, hey, we're putting on a show and we need a cellist, a violinist, and a trumpet player, and you're getting £10 an hour.
yes,
there.
there is that.
And you know, so I think you're struggling. I saw something the other week, and it was it was for a kind of singing musical theatre, you know, teacher for once a week, but it was £12 an hour, and so if you're trained,
Is that a minimum wage?
I think I don't even know what minimum. Do you know how much minimum wage was when I was young?
How much?
£3.13.
You could not live on that. Imagine that.
Do you know what I
You
used to
can
live
buy
off of?
3 Freddos by the end of this hour. Like,
See, when I was studying at the academy, I used to live on £42 a week. That's what my after I'd paid everything off, I had £42 a week to
can you
live off of.
imagine that nowadays?
You know.
Like,
It was crazy. It is,
Yeah.
yeah. But it is financially, it's challenging. When I started teaching, like I think I started at £7 for an hour.
how long ago was that?
15 years.
That's still
15,
not
20 years.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually my group classes were £2.50. And I did a buy one, get one free if you brought your sibling. So as you can see, I've very much learned more finances off my own back, but I think I've never been in it for the money side of things. I'm now starting to understand how to make money. I'm 45 now. You know, it's taken me a long, long time to understand how to make money and how to actually understand I'm good enough and I should be able to say, I'm good at what I do enough to be able to charge this amount. And see the guilt. I remember last year, I decided to put my prices up.
Yeah.
And I put them up by £10. And I did not sleep for about 2 days. I kept saying to my husband, nobody's going to book back in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get any clients anymore. Nobody's going to pay that amount for me. I'm not good enough for that amount. You know, and I put my hours out on social and I was sweating. It was a quite a doubting place. And I'm usually a positive person and I was really, really worried about it. And within an hour, all my slots were gone.
That's good.
It didn't matter. And I kept, in every message as well, I said, just to make you aware, my price has gone up by an hour. Perfect, you're worth it. I'd pay double. Yes, can I book XYZ with you?
That's good.
You know, and it gave me such a feeling of, why am I allowing that feeling inside me? You know?
Well, I think like
Tricky.
it's a conscience thing. I think as well. Like your
Mhm.
default when you
Yeah.
raise your prices is I don't want to rip people off.
I don't.
And I don't want to
never.
make it inaccessible.
Yep.
That's the two probably big fears that you might have.
Yeah.
But one of the things that might help you with that if you ever have to do it again is like, see if you look around.
Dr. Matthew here.
Dr. Ruddy. Let's do this.
Dr. Ruddy.
No.
Oh, that sounds actually quite good, Dr. Ruddy.
Yeah.
The clinic.
Also offer therapy sessions as well. If you
Music therapy.
But like if you look around and you see like what the prices are for the market,
Mm-hmm.
that can help like because you don't want to price yourself way out of the market to
Yeah.
the point that everyone says that that's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're too cheap, I mean, Rightmove is a good example of this. Like, see if you go like
Rightmove?
house
Okay.
shopping or something,
Right.
you know, and the house looks great.
Uh-huh.
You're skeptical initially because you're like, this is really cheap. What's the issue?
What's the area?
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
But you do sometimes think like you get suspicious if things are too low.
Mhm.
If something's that low, it means it can't be that good. Like in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
And so I think if you price yourself in the middle where you say, right, well, this
Yeah.
is a fair price.
Mhm.
It's not too low that it means that like people think I'm bad, and
Yeah.
it's not way out there.
Yep.
You know, you want to be like reasonable.
Uh-huh.
So like if you raise your prices, like that's something to bear in mind. It might make you feel a bit better about that.
Thank you, Dr. Ruddy.
To mention it.
I feel lighter already.
It's good as like it's Tinkerbell. Still can't get over like of all. I mean, I don't dislike. I've not seen the film in years.
Oh, there's loads of them. There's loads of films out for Tinkerbell now.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she like her
She's
own
got her
character?
full
She didn't
full-formed
talk in
brand.
the originals.
No,
like,
no,
does
she
talk
doesn't.
now?
She does, yeah.
I'm gonna go and investigate this. Me and Dion were actually talking about Shrek and
Yeah,
interviews.
I watched the episode, yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny like how as you get older, like those initial films that you really like when you're young, people always say, "Oh, you'll grow out of it," but you don't. Like you still go and watch it, you know.
See, for me growing up, it was like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I know that sounds pure old, but I remember watching that and Mary Poppins, the original. not the new one, the original.
I didn't
Always
even know
watch the
there was a
original.
new one.
Yes, yeah, there is, yeah. But yeah, like watching that and Calamity Jane and all these old school musical theatre, you know. But I kind of grew up. I remember before, on a Saturday morning, I would rush to get dressed so that I could go down the stairs and I would watch Thundercats.
Whoa.
Yeah,
They remade that in
Yeah.
the early 2000s, didn't
yeah.
they?
Didn't watch the remake,
No.
but I could time that before I had to go and get the train up to the academy.
Nice.
So I could watch it and eat my breakfast at the same time if my mum let me. And then I would rush to the car and get in. So I would pack everything on the Friday night to make sure I had everything. You know, it was mad.
Well, you miss that in a way, don't you? Because it's all streaming services now.
Oh,
So in
is it?
theory, like,
Yeah.
well, the one
Yeah.
thing that I really prefer about streaming services is, like, see, they do away with the ads.
Yeah.
So, like,
Most of them have ads in
Really?
it now. Like Prime have ads.
that's
Netflix
terrible.
is going to be the
Disney
next thing.
Plus don't.
Disney Plus don't. No.
No,
Well,
that's the one I use the most.
Hulu. Is it Hulu and Disney now? Disney's
tell
got
you.
Hulu and other ones in it as well now. But yeah.
No, I just find that, like, see, there was nothing more annoying than when you were watching a program, and there's just ads relentlessly every 5 minutes.
I tell all of my clients to sit and exercise while they're watching the television.
Really?
Yes, they sit and bubble with a bottle of water and a straw and they do SOVT exercises.
You were the one that taught you on that then.
Yes, yes. I am the SOVT goddess. I shall take it. I'll take the crown. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
that's cool.
But it's changed her voice, like for
Yeah.
the better. It's made her voice so much more accessible. And I think that's massive, you know.
No, you've really helped her a lot with her singing. She
She's
was terrible
wonderful.
before. Okay.
Well, she was tighter. She was very tight. She was tight before, you know. But yeah, all of my clients, they learn SOVT. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter what style, or actually all. Even I'm rehabilitating a lady just now. She had a stroke, and so she's been signed off by her specialist at the hospital to say that she can have rehabilitation exercises now. So we're using SOVT to actually build a little bit more muscle
Right.
here, because this side is very, very relaxed. So SOVT is working its magic with that, you know. So it's not just for singing; it's for even. I mean, she's not a singer. She just needs it for speech because her speech is very tired, you know. So, yeah, I do lots of different types of lessons.
Yeah, well, one of the probably most small-minded things I ever did was probably laugh at singers when I was younger for some of the exercises that they
Everyone did, yes.
But
Yeah.
did you see, not to keep going back, I feel like I'm giving you a really hard time in this, Dion, if you're watching, but there was the video, I don't know if you've seen it, but it was at one of the ladies' days, and she was doing, yeah.
Yeah, and
then
pushing the
the
jaw
DJ
down.
took a video of himself and he kept going, no.
Yes,
That
yeah.
was so funny.
Yeah. But you must have done exercises, you know, when you
Yeah,
were
but,
when you were playing. So it's just it's different because it's singers, isn't it?
It's probably less
You know.
slaggable when you do it on an instrument.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I am that wacky teacher that will get you to
But
do
it's
crazy
good.
things. Like a lot of my clients, like there's been videos of like Natalie James. You know, I've made her hold weights, 5K weights, while we're singing
Yeah.
to anchor the sound a bit lower down. You know, I've used an exercise ball, you know, for bouncing and getting the sound a little bit softer. You know, a lot of my clients, they'll lie on the floor, we'll stretch through the ribs, you know, making sure that everything's relaxed and everything. So it's very much a holistic approach and making sure that the body is helping.
Well, one of the things that you find, and this isn't just a singing thing, like the ones that are successful are the ones that are willing to look stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like, see, like, even putting your hand up in class when you're younger and be like, I don't get that. What does that mean?
Yeah.
See, when, like, you forget this is a thing, I think, because we're surrounded by people that are kind of open and understand the process that it takes to get there, you know, at this point in our lives in the industry. But, like, you do forget when you're young, like, asking questions was something that, you know, people could talk about and be like, he asked that question, you know, like, and it's just this small-mindedness and this desire, like failure is just this badge of shame, and never look stupid because no one wants to look stupid, and like
I
that
was
actually.
always stupid.
But that's a
Yeah.
good thing,
Always.
you know, because you make all
Yeah.
your mistakes early on, and then by the time you're at this point, it's like, right, well, I know what I'm doing now, you
Yeah.
know.
I was very odd in school. I used to walk down the corridor. Well, I used to pirouette down the corridor, carrying a violin, probably trying to do a different accent at the same time, or singing some sort of classical Latin song at the same time. And I was in a school that was very much rugby strong as well, you know, so I didn't really fit in at all in school. I don't know if I fit in a lot of places.
I actually don't think you want to.
Yeah, I've always been quite. Well, Mammy used to say, Marmite. You either love it or hate it.
Would you
Is
say
that-
like
is
the
that
more
spreading, is it?
authentic you become, though, the more that's going to happen to a degree? Like, I think.
I think you've just got to find your village. You know, find your tribe. Find people who get you and who lift you up. I think I'm now at that stage where I'm about to. Well, I am in the process of bringing up 2 little girls who are 3 and 4, and it scares me to think that they're going to go into school, into primary school and into secondary school, because primary school and secondary schools now, they're so different. And don't get me wrong, I didn't have a great, you know, childhood. I was bullied horrifically, but in today, if you're bullied, it's put out there for everyone to see and
Oh gosh,
video,
yeah.
and instead of helping people, they're holding phones. So, like, see, for me as a Scottish vocal coach, when clients come in, even youngsters or even adults, when they come in and they're dealing with, you know, somebody's said something about their singing or somebody's made them feel a certain way, and they come in, it comes into the lesson, and I unpack that during my lesson. It's really important that they feel that they can discuss it, because if they don't, I feel the energy in the room isn't what it needs to be for me to progress the voice and progress their performance. So we have to discuss what they're feeling, whether it's a personal issue, a work issue, a school issue. You know, it's got to come out before they sing, because music is personal.
Yeah.
You know, you feel music. Everyone feels music. It doesn't matter what genre.
And do you sometimes feel a bit like a therapist when you have to?
Always.
Like, yeah.
It's part and parcel. You know, you've got to. Even this podcasting is therapy.
Yeah. And
You
it's
know.
not something I ever thought it would be, you know,
Yeah.
to be fair.
I'm a very isolated person when it comes to what I do. There's just me and a client in a room, or there's me in a room full of other people who are wanting stuff from me. So I'm not going to unpack to them
Yeah, yeah.
what's happened to me during my day. That's not my role. So I don't have a lot of places where I can go and kind of just go bleh.
Yeah.
You know, have I just done
Promise-
that today?
No,
have
no,
I came
no.
in and went bleh?
But it's a very interesting point, because I think maybe because I've kind of noticed this in myself as well. See, when you get the chance to, you
Yeah.
definitely do.
You've got to.
Right, and
Yeah.
I think there's been times where I went for a catch up, and like this is the last time I'll mention you, Dion, I promise. But like she actually said this in her interview. She raised a really good point that so many people have actually said to me, how good a point it was. It was the idea that you like have to put on a mask when you're entertaining.
Yeah.
Like you're not you're a character in that
Mhm.
moment, and like if you have a bad day, like nobody cares. You have to go out and give a show.
Yep.
But I think also where that manifests itself is, see, you'll be doing that kind of with your clients. You won't unpack to your students.
No.
Like they'll unpack to you,
Yep.
and that's kind of your role. And if you're playing to an audience, it's the same thing. So one of the things, I don't know if you find this, but in an environment like this, say you're just catching up with someone that you've maybe not seen in a while,
Mm-hmm.
when you unpack, you're like, I probably said a bit much there. You know, you're self-conscious about
Yeah.
how much you said, because you're like, I don't get to do this often, so when I
Yeah.
do it, I probably said a bit much in excess. And then you're like, what's wrong with me?
I'm quite cautious of what or who I open up to about certain things, because unfortunately it can get spoken about elsewhere. So
I guess so, yeah.
I'm always quite cautious I think there's part of me that has been maybe burned in the past with that. So, but I'm always honest, and I think that's one thing that I pride myself on.
Mm-hmm.
If a parent or a client messages me and says, "I'm thinking about doing this. What's your thoughts?" I'll go, "Well, this is the upsides, and this is the downsides." So you've got to then look through that yourself and come to your own idea. I can't tell you what to do, but I know because of my years of doing what I've done, I can give them good guidance.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
And that's the thing, I suppose, like, because that's the best out of the three common options that happen in that situation.
Mhm.
You get one person that says, right, here's what you do this, do this, do this, do
Yeah,
this, and
yeah.
like talk as if everything they say is fact.
Mhm.
Then there's the other, which on the surface isn't as bad, but when you actually examine it, it could be. When you just say, oh, yep, that's a great idea. Yes, yep, 100%. Like, just agree
Mhm.
with everything they say to make them feel
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
Like, the best thing you can do is, like, say, this is what I think, it's your choice, and then,
yeah.
like, listen to their point of view and consider it. Because
Because I
it's,
think most of it is performing arts related. Actually, to be honest, most of it is where do I send my talented kid? Like what is the best place to go to for musical theatre, for classical singing, for acting, for dance, for ballet training, all of that kind of stuff, and that there's loads of factors you've got to think about, but I've been around for such a long time. I don't think there's not a lot of places in Scotland that I've not taught. Because one of the things that I love about myself is I I'm really, really passionate and energetic about what's happening out there. I want to know, like, where's the best place to go for this, and who can teach me that, and who can do that, and who can do this, and then I can kind of become that bit of knowledge and go, well, do you know what you need? You need help with an RP accent. Okay, so I'm going to send you to this person, and the reason I'm going to send you to this person is because of A, B, and C, and she's got this. She's got this qualification. She's done this. She's got the experience. Her communication skills are great. She's disclosure checked, which is a massive thing for youngsters. She's got all of that. So it is really important that what I'm saying actually is correct,
mm-hmm.
because so many people do listen, and I don't want to steer them in the wrong way.
Yeah, no, it's good that you take that responsibility to
Mhm.
heart.
I've
Because,
just seen the microphone behind you. Sorry.
what?
Total random. I've just seen. Look at that microphone.
Oh, the gold one.
How gorgeous is that?
I never even noticed it.
Did you not?
No.
That's cute. Bring that over. Can we allowed to bring it over?
I can give you at the end.
I want to see what it's like.
Well,
very cool.
I'll give you very soon. I've got a few more questions I'd
Oh,
like
have
to
you?
ask, and then
Some more. Okay, I'm
yeah,
ready. Right,
okay.
go for it.
So I really want to ask, out of everything we spoke about, what would you say is the most rewarding thing about being a teacher?
So I think for me, it is literally there's a moment after a lesson that I usually send a message saying, thanks very much for booking in with the Scottish vocal coach. I had a great session with you. The response that comes back, they are so meaningful to me. Like the words that is chosen, the fact that someone goes away with more knowledge, the fact that somebody goes away with confidence, the fact that somebody goes away feeling worthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an emotional moment for me, because I think there's something that I really connect. I'm getting emotional, but I really connect to every single one of my clients or students that comes through my door. I care so deeply about them, and I care about their parent as well, making sure that the parent knows what to do with that individual, making sure that the client knows, okay, so this is what you've got to practice, and this is how to practice it, and this is a video for you to practice with it, so that they go away knowing, okay, this is how I can feel more confident when I'm out. This is how I can earn better. Because before, I would do one gig and then I couldn't sing for a week. Now I can do 4 or 5 gigs in a row and my voice, my muscle is sustaining. That's massive to me because then, for example, love you, Dion. We'll just use you, right?
I'm tempted to call this just this whole episode just the Dion retrospective.
Yeah. But for her, that means that she can earn. Right? And she's got children as well. She's got a life as well. And there's a beautiful moment there for me to sit back and be proud that she's able to go out and she's able to work. Same, you had Lizzie as well. You had Lizzie on. I am Lizzie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I didn't even think of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same with Lizzie as well. Lizzie was struggling as well. Yep. All right. So Lizzie was struggling vocally as well, and I've helped her as well. And she's all over gigging now, which is wonderful, you know. But I think there's a pride and there's a connection there that I've got with every single student that I've ever taught. That I'm just really proud of what I do. See, in my wee music hub at the back of my house, I'm just dead proud of it. I'm really proud and I'm really passionate about it.
Yeah, well, I can tell. I mean, it's been coming through the whole conversation we've been having. You can see how much you care and how much it's like, you know, this is in your blood. So,
and this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I've actually not done a lot of personal promotion.
Okay.
Right. I find it quite hard to do it.
It's not,
you know, when I judge competitions and they send me a message and they say, "Can you send me a wee paragraph about yourself?" I'm like,
No, I cannot.
So my name's Angela, and that's what I feel like I'm talking like. My
You're
name's
like,
Angela,
ChatGPT.
and I am a good person. You know, that's what I feel like I sound like. You know, you know I do. So I usually kind of go, actually, can you just put something together? And I hate writing my qualifications in.
So funny.
You know, I feel like I'm going, this is what I do, and I did this, and I did that, and I did that. And it's really awful. So, like, personal promotion is really challenging to me. So, even this morning, like, I didn't have breakfast this morning or anything.
Really?
Because I've just been like,
Were you nervous for this?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope I've not made you nervous during the conversation.
You totally have. Like, you've no scared me. I'm talking to you. Yes. But yeah, so I'm on my own personal journey. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you having me on.
No, it's good.
I really do, because I'm getting used to all this wonderful
Well, with all
stuff.
that in mind, my final question to you is, where can people find the Scottish Vocal Coach?
So you can find me on my socials. So I use two platforms. Anything more than 2, I can't cope with. So you can find me on Facebook under the name Angela McCallum, or you can find me on Instagram under my brand name, Scottish Vocal Coach. You can also WhatsApp me if you're interested in lessons. So my number is 07849 012 649. So feel free, send me a message if you're looking for lessons. My books are open just now. So you can have a wee chat with me, and I'll see if I can help you.
Great stuff. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Oh, you did great. Can I high five you?
Of course.
High five you.